So it occurred to me that I should tell you why certain things need to be drawn a certain way, and that these are not just lines on a paper. What they are lines that outline a form that has volume, and we need to make sure that we treat those as if they are volumes and not just lines. So here I'm setting up a very generic looking head, and his nose is going to be here. And I'll put his eye here and over here. The eye is a little bit wider because it's on this side of the sphere of his head. And let's just say he's really concentrating on something that's like down in front of him. So he would have a cheek here. It comes down like this. And let's say his mouth is dropped down here and is slightly open. And we can see his tongue inside there. And his lower lip comes out like that. And the eyebrows, here's a trick from way back. Just extend the ellipse oval of the eye up, and you can come up with a pretty good place to put the eyebrows. There's one, there's two, and then the rest of it, let's say his hairline goes like this, comes down over his ear like that. And that line's like that. Continue this line that we used to bisect his head, and that can be the middle of his spine. So his neck would be around his spine like that, and then shoulders come off like this, and his arms, chest, draw through it. His arm can be here. Put a center line down like that, and a center line in the back. So let's just say that this is our character. Now what you can do is go over it roughly with a blue pencil to tie down, well, which lines and volumes do you like? And say definitively, here's where I want this cheek to be, coming down, and then around here, and definitively here is where I want the ear. And I usually start with the detail of the eye. So it comes down this way, and the eyeball is inside of it. Then the eyebrow is up here, And let's bring his nose around like that. And his little mouth is, like we said, open with his tongue back here. Maybe we see the the bottom of his front teeth. And then his lower lip here. Here's his neck. He's wearing a t-shirt, so that would be how we would start the drawing. Now, when you're doing a cleanup of this character, let's put him underneath one of our sheets of animation paper here. And let's take away a few pages. And then we can turn on the light box. Okay, so now we can see the guy through the sheet of paper. Now, if you're going to be cleaning this up and some animator has given you that drawing, what you need to do in order to make a really nice drawing of this, go over it really quickly in blue pencil. And this is, again, light blue pencil here, to tie down the parts that you're not quite sure that you agree with the animator's volumes, and you're making small corrections as you go. Little additions here and there. Keep his drawing underneath it throughout the entire process, if you would. So again, I'm just going over parts that I think would make the drawing better. Most of the other lines I'm just leaving as is. Like this t-shirt, this line should come straight down like that, and then the t-shirt back should just come around here, the t-shirt seam around his neck, the neckline as it were. So having done that, we can take a darker pencil, and I like using the 6B and the ebony pencil to do that, and stretch your line across the top of his head. Go over it lightly, and then you can go back the line for the bottom of the hair would be a little bit heavier, a little bit thicker than the line that describes the top of the hair clump. And you notice I made that line a little bit lower than his eyebrow, just so it wouldn't be the same place as the eyebrow. And here I'm trying to make sure that I get some good clean dark lines to describe him, his hair. Nice dark line to show his eyebrow. Here's one eyebrow. Here's the other one. And for the side of his head. Now we are trying to make something look three-dimensional on a two-dimensional surface, as Dave told me years ago. And I think he said that Don Graham said that. You make these nice round shapes here to describe volume. This volume under the lip. It makes it so that the lip is not just a curved line, but we know that that curved line is his lower lip. And we can give him a little gap in his teeth there. And a little tongue. So now let's start with the eyes. And this heaviness, basically we're trying to fake an eyelid by doing this. So this line is a little bit heavier up top than the rest of the line that describes the rest of the eyeball, the rest of the eye, I should say. And sometimes we go over like that. This line curves inside. Now let's put his eyeball there. And let's get this eyeball in. And you see here, I went over a little bit. So it extends over just to show that it's a bit heavier, a bit thicker on the top. Now this line should be a little bit lighter, but then as we come around to the bottom of the nose, let's make that a little bit heavier. And these outside lines here. So here we put the neck in like this. And this line can be a bit heavier just because it's an outside line. And as we draw this line, make a nice curve there to show the volume of the sleeve. Like that. And we keep this line a little bit light, but still it's a nice dark line that describes the circle of the seam around his shirt. And his arms. But what we're trying to do is show volume throughout this process. And a lot of times when we do stuff like this, we color in the mouth with blue pencil and the eyes with blue pencil. Sometimes we want a line there for cheek. Sometimes we want a line just here for some kind of design element or showing that the eye is not just floating. Characters like this, it's a little bit difficult because the eyes seem to be floating, but they do have anchor points of here at the cheek, and describe a line around here going to the ear, and this going across like that. This line here is the middle point of the face and comes down like that. We're trying to show a bit of volume with all these lines. And we can darken the shadow under there like that. And maybe there's a little shadow under his sleeve line there. So now you can see a little bit clearer what we've been doing. A little bit of shading there, shading, shade, shade, shade. And the lines a little bit heavier on the bottom part and outside of the roundness of him to show volume. So that's our small break from our Scooby lesson to show some volume lesson. And our next video will be back to animating Scooby and Shaggy. So keep drawing and keep having fun.